All right, well, welcome. How are we feeling today? Anybody feeling extra sore and stiff anywhere? No, just kind of top to bottom, just, yeah, okay. Flow we're gonna do today is gonna have a little bit of everything, but with a little more focus on kind of hamstrings and lats and back. I mean, like I said, we get a little bit of everything. The Sunday Fun Day workout, I think the way you just say the name is Buriak. You know, it's a 20-minute AMRAP with running and not a lot of running, but some running, some burpees over the bar, some pull-ups. And it's enough volume to be a little sore in places like your lats because of the high volume of pull-ups. So we'll kind of take care of those areas, but then also just like we do, we'll make sure we get all of the places. One block today, I won't be using it a ton, but it's helpful for some of the movements that we do. And so feel free to use it. And we're going to start on our backs. So let's have everybody lay flat. And we have some options for what we want to do with the feet today. So you could start like all the way laying flat, or if your lower back is a little bit tight today, or you just need a little bit of release, go ahead and place your feet flat on the floor, and then feet about as wide as the mat, and the knees kind of fall in towards each other. Okay. So wherever you are, we're just closing the eyes and breathing through the nose to find our smooth breathing rhythm. For today, everybody might find a different breathing count, somewhere like 3 or 4 or 5 counts on both the inhale and exhale. So as we lay here for a few cycles of breath, I want you to find that number for you. And so counting slowly to that set point so that you then carry that with you the rest of the class. And I want that breathing timing to feel smooth. It doesn't feel forced, but it feels like you have to pay attention to it a little bit so that it's longer than your normal pattern. Just a couple cycles here, just finding that smooth inhale and exhale through the nose at that count that feels pretty good. 3 counts, 4 or 5. Now continuing to breathe with this flow in mind, so that same count, that longer, more focused breathing pattern. Now let's go ahead and extend the legs if they're not there already onto the mat, and reach your arms all the way overhead, full body stretch like you're waking up in the morning. Reach through those fingers and toes. Now grabbing the left wrist with the right hand, reach through that stretch a little more and then lean over to the right side. So a little bit of a gentle side bend laying flat on the floor. So keep pulling against that left wrist. And then bringing your body through center, switching the hands. So grabbing the right wrist, reaching up and away, and then leaning to the left. All right, bringing your torso through center and then hugging the knees to the chest. And give them a little squeeze. Now let's place both feet flat on the floor again. Not so, or like, let's actually go as wide as the mat. Okay, so you can feel the outer edges of the mat on the feet. And let both knees fall over to the right side. Just let them drop. Bring it through center. Let the knees drop to the other side. through center. And then 2 more sets where you drop them to each side and just find that hold for you at that time that feels good. So some of you might go a little faster than others. We've got some time here, so let it feel good. And switch when you feel ready. Trying to soften through the lower back, the front of the hip that's feeling some of that tension. And then last set, if you haven't gotten there already. Good, bringing the knees through center, feet flat on the floor. And now we're going to start moving into some deeper stretches. Let's go right foot over and above that left knee. Okay. So starting with a slightly easier glute stretch, first thing I want you to do is just drop your left knee all the way over to the left. It's going to take that right leg with it, and you're going to feel a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a glute stretch. Just kind of breathing into this. Okay, bringing that leg through center. And then let's switch sides. So place your right foot flat on the floor, left foot over and above the knee. And then let that right knee just drop as it carries the left foot with it over towards the side. You get a little twist, a little stretch in the hip. All right, now bringing that leg through center. Unhook it from the right knee and just hug both knees back into the chest. And now we're going to deepen this glute stretch. So go back to the first side. So left foot on the floor, right foot over and above the knee. Now let's go ahead and draw the left knee to the chest. And you can either thread the arms through, grab the back of the left thigh, or if we want to grab the right knee and the right foot, we can use the leverage of the upper body to help gently pull the right shin towards the chest. And gently release that. And let's go to the other side. So now right foot flat on the floor, left foot over and above the knee, either threading the hands through to grab for the back of the thigh, or just grab your left foot and your left knee and use that upper body to help pull the shin a little closer to your chest. All right, let's go ahead and gently release that. Hug both knees to the chest. Give them a squeeze. You can rock to side. We can make little circles. Just trying to loosen up the low back a little more. And then we'll take a couple rocks along the spine to find a straddle position, seated straddle. So a couple rocks forward and back. And then on that third or fourth rock, we can sit up. Now, we're going to come into a straddle. You might find that when you come into this straddle, we want the heels on the mat just for comfort. If that doesn't bother you, you can just straddle as you are. But some of you might want to face one side or the other just so we have a little cushion for those heels. Okay? So in our straddle, we want the knees up towards the ceiling and the toes. When we fold forward, we often feel everything kind of roll in. I want you to prevent that. So really keeping the knees up towards the sky. Okay. So from here, inhale to sit up tall. And then on your exhale, we just fold forward. And on this version, let's try to reach the chest forward a little bit. That's going to flatten out the back. That's going to create a little more tension through the hamstrings and maybe even that higher point of that hamstring connection toward the hip. Now we can stay here, or if you want to find a little bit more stretch for the lower back, you're going to have to kind of feel through this, but take your one shoulder and shrug it up towards that ear and kind of reach away from that side. So you're kind of leaning over a little bit. And you can just go back and forth. So now the other shoulder will shrug and reach as you lean to the opposite side. And you start feeling the lower back a little bit more. So it just depends on where you're feeling extra tight today, what kind of stretch you need. Good. Now on your inhale, let's go ahead and just walk the hands up. Okay. So next we have a side bend. So we're going to keep the straddle. We're going to sit up really tall, reach your right arm up. Okay. Actually, you guys keep your right arm up. I'm going to switch. Okay. So we're going to turn towards that right foot. And then we're going to lean up and over towards the opposite side. Okay. So you want to find a little bit more opening towards the ceiling as you reach up and over. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll get a little side stretch here. Good. Inhale will bring you up. And then other side. Okay. We're going to reach, we're going to turn, and we're going to lean over towards that right foot. So you're trying to take your top ribs and just keep rolling them back so that we feel that side stretch. Good. And inhale will bring you up. Okay. This next one feels different than what you're expecting, but in a good way. Okay. So hurdle. You're going to take your right knee, bend it, and bring your foot behind. Now you might need to close up the straddle a little bit. Okay. Or again, move yourself to so where your foot is on the mat. But right now, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little internal rotation stretch right in the front of this hip crease. Okay. So maybe this is enough. If not, here's where things feel a little bit different. Ooh, we're going to start walking the hands forward. Internal rotation is not something we feel often, right? And so slowly enter this because your body's probably like, what is going on, especially in that right hip crease. Good. All right, let's go ahead and walk the hands up. Okay. Keep this. Now we go back. Oh, this is where things get even more interesting. Okay. So as we lean back, we might find a big stretch and not a lot of range of motion. Yep, I don't know about you, but I don't got much more than this today. If you find a lot of tension in the hip crease of the leg that you're stretching, I might, with your thumb, go in and kind of massage out a little of that tension. You might find that you've got more space once the body accepts and says, okay, I guess I'll release. All right, inhale. Gently walks you up out of this. Now, we can kind of open this position a little bit, but we're going to take this left foot and we're going to bend it and keep it coming in a little bit. So we're in kind of a 90-90, but not super full 90-90. Okay. And so from here, we're just going to get a little extra glute stretch. All you're going to do is just bow over that front shin. Try to find some softness in the shoulders. Recenter your focus on your breathing at whatever count you were doing in the beginning. Good. Inhale, we'll bring you all the way up. And then we're going to go through that sequence on the second side. So first thing, let's find that straddle again so we can start from the same spot. Okay. And then this left foot is going to come around. Bend your left knee. Okay. So for some of us, maybe that's it. Maybe this is what we got. If we have a little bit more, let's go back. Actually, we go forward. Thank you. I was like, that's not right. We go forward. Oh boy. Oh boy. Does this feel weird for anybody else too? Does this feel really, you don't like it on, does it feel weird on, does it stretch or is it, Have we tried, can we try pushing out the foot a little bit? Does that make it too much? Oh, you don't feel anything when you do that. I see. Okay. Okay. All right, let's bring that torso up. And now we're going to go lean back. And again, if we need to, get a thumb into that hip crease to help release some of that tension or that extra tension that you're feeling as you're leaning back, go for it. And yeah. Good. Let's gently now sit up from that. And then we're going to take our right foot and bring it in a little bit and just kind of open this back leg out. It's an easy glute stretch coming. And then from here, we just bow over that front shin. Good. All right. Let's go ahead and gently sit up. And then just to create a little bit more movement in the hips, we're just going to windshield wiper the knees a couple times just to loosen things up again. Okay, so just kind of hands behind you, just go back and forth with those knees like we did at the beginning, but maybe now you've got a little bit more space to drop all the way down. All right, and then let's go ahead and find our way into our hands and knees for a little bit of cat-cow. So a couple classic sets here. So on your inhale, we just drop the belly down, then we lift. And then we press through the palms, we curl the chin in, tailbone reaching toward the backs of the knees. And just go through a couple sets like that on your own. Good. All right, let's find neutral. Okay. And then we're just going to walk the hands back towards the knees and come to a kneeling position. Okay. Right foot will go out to the side. We're going to feel a whole lot of side stretch on this. So left arm will go up. We'll lift up a little bit, and then we lean over towards the right foot. And the more you lift with and through the hand, the more stretch you might find through even the abs, right? Even up towards the side. And let's bring that hand down and a switch to the other side. And so right arm up. Find a little bit more lift, and then we lean. Good. Let's go ahead and come out of that and release. Okay. And now we're going to go into child's pose side stretch. So let's get your toes together, knees apart. We're going to take what we just did and add to it, okay? So you're going to walk your hands out in front. We'll walk the hands first over to the right side. Okay. Now I want you to grab your left wrist with your right hand and pull on that left wrist as you sit your hips towards your heels. A lot of traction here with that arm and the hip reaching in opposite directions. And let's go ahead and release and walk the hands over to the other side. So as we get all the way over there, grabbing your right wrist with the left hand this time, you're going to pull at the wrist as your hips reach back and you drop the chest down. All right, let's go ahead and release that. We walk it through center. And let's go back to the hands and knees. Bring the knees in all the way together. And next up, we're going to go into a toe stretch. So this one is probably one of the more intense stretches we do. And we'll be here for a little bit longer than I think you'll want. So start off with not so much intensity and then ease into it as you go. Okay. So let's tuck the toes under. And let's get to a place where all 10 toes, you can feel them on the floor. Okay. Some of you might have to have your feet a little wider than toes touching. Okay. And then from here, keeping all 10 toes hopefully connected to the floor, we drop the knees down. This might be all we get today. That's okay. Maybe we have a little bit more where we can sit up. Oh boy. Okay. And so wherever we are, we're just going to close the eyes and breathe. using the breath to distract you from maybe a little bit of that intensity. Couple more breaths, you're almost there. All right, let's go ahead and release. See, I told you it was a little longer than you wanted, but it's good for you. Oh, slowly unwind and then start bringing some movement back into the toes, maybe some ankle rolls. All right, and let's go into our downward facing dog of the day. We got a couple of them we'll be into today. Whew. So as you tuck the toes and lift the hips, pedal out those feet. Find that calf stretch. You want to keep pressing through the palms so that the hips are high, but your focus is on creating more length through the backside of the legs. All right, let's go into our next stretch. So from down dog, step your right foot to the outside of the right hand, and we'll come into Spiderman. So bring that back knee down. Okay. Here's where we can use our block if we need to today. Let this right knee fall over to the right, and then either hands to the floor, forearms down, or use your block to find kind of that happy middle ground for you today. All right, so from here, come onto the hands, and we're going to shimmy. You can use the block if we need it for the next thing, so have it handy. We can shimmy the right foot towards the middle and then forward into our half split. Okay, so using the block can be kind of underneath you this way for a little bit of extra support. Ooh, Steven, I like that. I like that. Well done. Well done on using the block. Yeah, that's good. Try to take your right toes and curl them a little bit towards your shins. You'll get a little more stretch down the leg, hopefully into that calf. All right, from here, you're going to shimmy into pigeon. So you might need to bend this right knee a little bit more and then start to shimmy the right foot over to the left. We bring our right shin down towards the floor. And here's where we can also use our block if our hip is pretty high off the ground and you want a little support. Just place it under the hip where you need it. And then either staying on the hands or coming all the way to the forearms. Try to rest your head on something. Maybe that's two fists stacked. Maybe that's the block. We just want to find some looseness and softness in the neck and the shoulders, wherever we can. Slowly coming onto the hands. And then we're going to find our way back to downward dog, however you want to get there. So take a couple breaths to just get out of pigeon. Find a little movement in the hips, maybe a cat-cow, maybe a down dog with a right leg raise. But we'll all meet in down dog at some point to start our second side. And so let's go left foot to the outside of the left hand and then bring the back knee down. You can let the left knee kind of fall out to the left. Use the block for support if you need it. All right, coming onto the hands. And we're going to shimmy the left foot to the middle and then maybe forward. Use the block if you need it. We'll curl those left toes towards your shin or half split. Okay. Now we're going to find our way to pigeons. So you might need to bend your left knee a little bit more. Bring the left foot all the way over to the right. And then we'll drop that shin down. And if this side feels similar to the other side and you used a block, go for that. Now slowly coming onto the hands. We're going to go back to down dog in whatever fashion you got there, just as a final reset. Good. All right, let's go ahead and drop those knees down. We're going to swing the feet around, and we're going to go all the way onto our backs. Final little hamstring stretch here. So 2 more stretches for us. Extend your left leg flat on the floor, and then that right leg will go straight up. Just grab for the back of the thigh, whatever you can. And we're going to just gently curl the toes to the shin. And go ahead and bend your right knee now. Scoot your hips over to the right. So just give it a little scoot over there. And then you're going to come into a twist where we let our right knee fall to the opposite side. The arms can go out like a T, or at least that right arm for sure. But don't worry about getting the shoulder to drop to the ground. I just want gravity to do a little work here. So when you get in position, just soften everything. Try to find some heaviness in the position. And then let that heaviness help to release whatever you're feeling in this stretch. Finding a little looseness in the back, in the hip, front of the shoulder. All right, bringing that right knee through center. Reset the hips. And then hug both knees back to the chest. Second side, so keeping your left knee in, extend your right leg. And then send that left leg straight to the ceiling. Grab for the back of the thigh. And then gently take your left toes and curl them to the shins. All right, now bending your left knee. Before we go into the next and final twist, shimmy the hips over to the left a little bit. And then let that